to Menopause Morph, your time to change. We're here to help you thrive through your menopause, bringing you experts in many fields to help you from perimenopause to menopause and beyond to become the strong, vibrant woman nature intended you to be. Hosted by Pauline McCarthy of the Pearls of Pauline, pearls of wisdom, compassion, and joy.
Hello, welcome to this week's Menopause Morph. Today we have a lovely lady all the way from Thailand. Her name is Shalini Joshi Yamdagni, and she is an international physical and emotional pain relief expert and the best-selling author in the book Pebbles in the Pond, Wave 3. And Shalini was diagnosed with an illness and was in chronic pain for months. After doctors prescribed bed rest for the remainder of her life, she went on a profound journey and healed herself completely. After a decade on this journey, and as the founder of magicalpainfreeliving.com, Shalini has coached thousands of clients, including a few doctors, helping them break free from their pain and ease into peace and clarity. This newfound ease and peace then enables the clients to return to a state of flow and attract more joy, fun and magic into their life. As a thought leader on topics of health and wellness and self-development, she has been featured on international platforms, online shows and books alongside Marcy Shimoff, Janet Atwood, Lisa Nichols, Mark Allen, Alex Mandosian and many more. Shalini's goal is to create awareness and to empower people all over the world to consciously take charge of their own health and well-being and live the life they truly want. Welcome, Shalini.
Thank you for that introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, Pauline.
For me, most menopausal women, well, it's very difficult to say every single menopausal woman experiences pain. I think we have emotional and physical pain. But because I'm the host, I can choose who I talk to. And I suffer from a lot of pain, so I'm really glad to have you online. And actually, for our listeners, Shalini actually helped me out a few weeks ago. That's why I was so inspired to have her on, but we'll go into that in a few minutes. So as an international physical and emotional pain relief expert, can you tell us how you got started in this?
Yes, I got started, a decade ago. And what happened was that I myself was in physical pain and I had been diagnosed with an illness, costochondritis. It's an inflammation of a ligament that connects the ribs with the breastbone. And because of that, I had physical pain. After visiting the doctors and trying different medications, nothing really worked for me. So the doctor said, well, you just have to try, you just have to take the medications longer. I did that. Still nothing happened. But what did happen was that my pain, which was just like a tiny pinprick pain on my left rib, over the weeks and months started getting bigger, and it was all over my ribs, eventually all over my upper back, my neck, my shoulders, so that I couldn't even turn my neck without being in a lot of pain. So we tried different things. Everybody, whatever was suggested by the doctors, physiotherapy, ultrasound therapy, hot packs, cold packs, rib support, neck belt, change the chair. My doctor said, you have to change your chair. You work long hours on the computer. And so the weight of the hands is weighing down on your shoulders and all that stuff. So I got a fancy chair with adjustable hand rests. But that didn't do it either. The pain got worse and worse. Eventually the doctors told me to quit my job and be on bed rest forever. And they said, well, you always, you can always try surgery, but there is absolutely no guarantee that anything is going to change. So that's where I was. Really, I thought I would be stuck there forever because I said, if these experts can't do anything for me, then I'm stuck. And it was a miserable place because at the time my kids were 4 and 5 years of age. As a mother, my daughter who was doing somersaults on the bed right next to me, I used to just lie there doing but nothing. She broke her left elbow bone and I couldn't drive her to the hospital, which was a 5-minute drive from my house. And that was the moment when I felt like, okay, this is really bad because now I can't even be just a regular mom to my child. That means I'm just useless. I'm so pathetic. And, why am I even here? And I was really angry. I was angry at God. I was like, what did I do? Just feeling like a really helpless victim of my circumstances until, a friend of mine I was depressed. I was getting more and more depressed, and a friend of mine pushed me to go to the self-awareness seminar. And I really didn't want to, but she urged me to go there, and I did. And I heard the host say that you create your life with your thoughts, you create your disease with your thoughts. And I thought, what if I just punch this guy? Because he's got to be kidding me. I'm trying so many different things. I've been trying everything out there and nothing's working. So how could I possibly be creating my disease? So it was at the end of the seminar, I said, okay, he probably knows something. I don't. Because the interesting thing was he had almost tried to commit suicide himself and lost his family, lost his kids. The wife took all the kids, and his business partner cheated him, and he was bankrupt. So he tried to commit suicide. And when I heard his story, I was like, okay, he's here, sharing his chirpy message about you create your life with your thoughts. So what does he know that I don't know? And at the end of the seminar, I went and asked him, look, I'm in all this pain. What do you suggest I do? I don't know how I created this, but what do you suggest? And he said, oh, I know about this technique. It's called Emotional Freedom Techniques, EFT. I don't do it, but I've heard about it. And why don't you try this for your pain? And so off I went that night back to my house, and I opened my computer and I Googled this one and only website that was for EFT back then. That was emofree.com. And they had a 80-page downloadable manual. And I tried to make sense of this manual. And it was strange because I've never heard of, I had done acupuncture, which hadn't worked for me, but this was a mix of psychology and acupuncture. And I thought, what is this? But I just, like a robot, I try to follow what they were saying, do this and do that. And to my amazement, I was noticing gosh, there is some shift in my pain levels. Like my neck doesn't feel so tight anymore, or wow, my left shoulder feels less heavy, So I was seeing little shifts, which was incredible because I would pop so many pills and see no shifts. Mm-hmm. So I got excited and I ordered all their stuff, doing this every single day because I had nothing better to do. I was just on bed. I used this tapping technique, and within over a month, I was completely free from my physical pain and my disease completely. And the pain never came back ever again. I was really excited. There was a doctor in my condominium who had been helping me because I'd been referring to her, not knowing what the doctors at the hospital were, whether they were doing the right thing. And she saw me completely free from pain. And she had a leg pain for 5 years. So she said, well, I'll give it a go. Why don't you help me with this? And I did. And she was free from her leg pain of 5 years. And so that's how it started. And she started talking to neighbors and clients and colleagues. And if a doctor is saying something, then it has more. So she was my first official client. Sort of, I didn't charge her anything, but I was just, so that's how I got started. And it's been a decade now, but that's what put me on the path.
It's very interesting how emotional pain is connected to physical pain. And I find that myself, that when I'm very stressed out, then my menopause symptoms get worse. And I'm sure many of our listeners do. And I want to tell our listeners, it was maybe about a month ago, you were helping me. I have this pain in my hip from the sacroiliac going down my leg. And we were doing this tapping and saying some things. And I have a background in medical science, and I have heard of EFT, and I've heard many good things, but part of me really deep down inside was going, it's a lot of nonsense, it's just rubbish. And we had met during a program, and I thought, well, I'll try it out. But to be honest, I was worried that it wouldn't work because I didn't want to embarrass you in public, and say, no, this doesn't work. You're just talking rubbish. But obviously I wanted to be cured. It's like when you were with your kids and you couldn't help them, you'll try anything. You get to a point where you'll try anything. So I was basically at that point because this pain in my hip was keeping me up all night, and we menopausal women know how difficult it is to stay awake all night. You're going to the toilet and aches and pains and many things. So I really wanted to sleep, and this was the thing that was keeping me back. And when we did it, I think we did it twice. The first time it kind of went down a little bit, and then we did it again and it went down quite a lot. And then I thought, the next day I thought, maybe it's, the placebo effect,
Yeah.
But we'll keep going. And actually, after like a couple of weeks, then it started to come back a little bit, and I would do it again because you were saying do it every day. But I'm I'm a very forgetful person. That's my menopausal forgetfulness. But when it did come back, then I was doing it again. And even sometimes I forget what it is that I'm trying to say or what I'm meant to do. Until yesterday, it came back with a vengeance. So I don't know if it came back because I knew that I was going to talk to you and my psyche was saying, oh, it's time to try this again. Or maybe it was this last couple of weeks have been very difficult for me emotionally. Not so much emotionally, physically, because as people will know, I have this souvenir candy company and it's the high season in Iceland just now with the tourists, and we're organising all this candy to send out to the stores. And unfortunately, I've been very bad in sneaking a few candies. Oh, this bag is burst. What shall we do with it? Oh, I won't eat it. No. And of course, so I don't know if it's the stress or the too much work or organising. So this has come back. So I'd like you to speak more about how can we control the emotions that will then control the pain. What's your suggestion?
Yeah, it's a very common thing. So, what you were saying is that when we did the tapping a month ago, you had quite, significantly less pain levels and you were not experiencing, I think you said you slept like a baby.
I did, yes.
But, if you just go rewind and listen to what you were saying, that it's come back with a vengeance. And this is the peak season. This is the peak season of whatever's, it's this high activity time. It's high stress time. And definitely what you were addressing to earlier, like how emotional issues, stressful issues do impact our physiology. We think we are just this body, and this body keeps doing these strange things on its own. And we are mind, body, spirit. And so what's happening in the mind affects the body, and what's happening in your emotional being is affecting your body, and it's all interconnected. Nothing is separate from each other. And yes, the stress that you're going through physically, it's come back in your hips. And
also it's come back with my menopausal symptoms. I've been having more hot flushes, even night sweats, and I haven't had night sweats for about a year. And it's like this last week.
So here's the thing. You just have to go back and say, okay, I'm having these symptoms. And you have to go back and say, what's stressful in my life right now? And if you go back, you'll immediately notice, I have all this stuff going on and I have to prepare this and organize this, and it's part of life. But that's the experience. It's stressful and it impacts your body. Now, going back to myself and my story, 10 years ago when I was in chronic pain and I was just, on bed rest. So what was my pain all about? And really it was, when I looked back, what I was tapping on to free myself, because it's emotional freedom techniques. And so I had to go back and see like what was going on in my life when this pain started. And the truth is, I hated my job. I hated going to my job. Going to my job was like suffocating. I felt like somebody was strangling me and I couldn't breathe. I just, it wasn't for me. This desk job just wasn't for me. And I kept going at it because I was so frustrated at my work. I just was so unhappy and I felt so meaningless doing this work that when I would go back home, I would take out all this frustration on my poor kids who were just 3, 4, 5 years of age. And then I felt even worse because then I said, you're a monster mother. Uh-huh. And then that guilt would add up. And my husband was just starting his own business. He wasn't working for another company. Now he was working for himself. So there was this real big pressure for him. We were fighting because I was stressed. I hated my job. He was under stress. And there was this vicious cycle that just kept going on and on until I was physically, I just had to physically pluck myself out of my office and I was on bed rest. And so when I was doing the tapping to help myself, I had to tune into what was the stress in my life during that time and then release all the anger, all the guilt, all the shame, all the feelings of I'm not good enough, I'm not this. And what happened was that as I released this emotional, heavy, negative burden that was like a backpack that I was carrying with me every single day, I saw shifts in my pain levels. And one fine day, it was all gone. So there was a direct relationship. There's a direct relationship between stress, emotional, feelings, and what's going on with your body. So whether you have, you said something interesting that you hadn't had these symptoms for a long time, and suddenly they've all flared up. For now, after a decade doing this, it's no puzzle anymore. It's just like, okay, what's going on in my life? And you have to address those stress levels. And you'll notice when you release the stress, then the physical symptoms sort of die down as well. And so if you go back, Pauline, and if you address, like, what have you been feeling? What sort of physical symptoms are going on? So you can use the EFT tapping just for the physical symptoms that are showing up. But then pain is just a symptom.
Yeah.
And you have to address the underlying root issues. And those are, what's the stress in my life? What is painful in my life right now? And as you release those, you'll see a significant shift in the pain levels.
Yeah. Like something that you say in your spiel when you're talking is that pain is simply a message to your body. And it's like that. It's not just physical pain, but emotional pain. It's like we have to listen to that message sometimes, don't we?
Absolutely. I like to say that your feelings, your pain is simply a message, and it keeps speaking to you. You have this constant communication going on with your body, which we don't listen to our body, but it's obviously all the time, whether through the feelings, through the physical symptoms, your body is letting you know something's going on with you. And most people just ignore it and just keep moving because there's so many things to do. Who has the time to, take care of your body and take care of all these feelings? But emotions are simply energy in motion. If you're sad and if you're hurt and you're frustrated and you're overwhelmed and you feel helpless, all these feelings need to be addressed. And while it is part of life, it's also part of life that when you go out there daily, you get dirty physically. You don't say, oh, I showered, so I'm not going to shower for the next 1 month because, I really showered well today.
Yes. Okay, Shalini, I think it's time now that we did a little bit of EFT, this tapping thing. So if you can explain to people what it is, because on the podcast they can't see, so where on the body it is and what we say and a little bit about EFT.
Yeah, so emotional freedom techniques, or EFT, or tapping as it's called, is basically modern psychology meets acupuncture. So what happens is, if you've ever been to an acupuncturist, they stick needles in different acupressure points on your body and they stimulate a current, and that current kind of, sends this electric charge to the body and it clears the blockages in the energy. But in emotional freedom techniques, we not just stimulate the endpoints of energy meridians. First of all, we don't use needles. We use our fingertips. So we tap with our fingertips on different points of the body, like the eyebrow point, the side of the eye point, and lots of different points. But at the same time, simultaneously, we tune into what's stressing us out. Is it something physical that's stressing us out? Is it something emotional? So we tune in and we tap. So that's basically what happens in emotional freedom techniques. And if you want to know more, you can visit the website magicalpainfreeliving.com. You'll see lots of videos there, displaying the tapping points and how to do basic EFT. But if you're brand new, don't worry, because we're just going to use some really simple points. In fact, we'll just use 2 points for the purpose of this show, just to make it easy for the podcasters to follow along. What we're going to do is, so one of the points in this process, in this tapping, is the karate chop point. And you can imagine it's at the side of the hand because that's where you would do a karate chop. So for the podcasters, that area is basically from the pinky finger, right, at the end of the pinky finger down to the wrist area. That's the karate chop point, either side of the hand. And you just use a bunch of your fingers to tap lightly on this point on the side of your hand. And you can tap on either side of your hand. So it doesn't matter. left or right, that's fine.
Left or right hand, yeah.
Yeah, and any side is okay.
And if I get tired using one, I can
You can
shift to
switch.
the other hand. Yes.
Definitely. And then we will be using the point that I call that is called the collarbone point, and that's where your two collarbones are. Just right under the collarbone point, there's this fleshy part. That's the collarbone point. So you can tap with both hands on this point. You can use one hand and tap that whole area. Doesn't matter. So we're just going to use these 2 points. And for the other points, you can visit the website. So yeah, let's get to the tapping. And what we need to do, as I said, is tune in to, first of all, what's bothering us. So notice what's bothering you. Is it something physical? Do you have aches and pains right now? We're talking about menopause. Usually people have hot flashes. We have back pains. We have, just feeling drained, exhausted, lack of sleep, maybe some of the, symptoms that you're going through. So tune into what's bothering you physically, emotionally, and then we'll do the tapping. So because you're here, Pauline, let's check in with you. What kind of symptoms are you experiencing right now?
I have a pain in my hip.
Mm-hmm.
And
is it the left hip or the right hip?
The left hip, yes.
Okay.
And I've been having a lot of hot flushes today. I'm having a mild one now, but today it's been like one of these hot, like monsoon season days.
Yes, we all have those days sometimes. So if I asked you to rate on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is it's really bothering me. 0 is it's not bothering me at all. Where would be your number when you think about your hip pain? And for those listening in, if you have something physical going on with you, tune into what your number might be. How much is it bothering you at this point? Not when you wake up in the morning, not when you go to sleep, not, at different times, but right now, as you're tuning into this show, to this process, what's bothering you physically and on a scale of 0 to 10? So Pauline, let's start with you.
I'd say a 5.
For the hip?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you rate the hot flashes that you're feeling? It doesn't have to be a perfect number.
It's about a 3 now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And is there a particular part of the body you feel this hot flash? Or is it all over? Or
behind my ears and on my back somehow. So it's kind of localized today.
Right.
As if I've got a burning fire behind me, heating my back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So basically what you want to do is tune in to what's going on with you physically, and then tune in to what's going on with you emotionally. So one thing you want to ask yourself is, how does this make me feel? So you've got this hot flash happening. You've got this, hip pain happening. How does that make you feel?
Emotionally or symptoms?
Emotionally. How do these symptoms make you feel emotionally? Like frustrated?
Yeah, frustrated because today is a really busy day. I have this Icelandic souvenir company and it's like really busy season. And one of our suppliers, their machine broke down, and it's one of these Murphy's Laws days. Anything that can't go wrong will go wrong.
Right. Okay. So those listening in, you want to tune into what are you feeling as a result of these symptoms that you're going through, because it really impacts your emotions, impact your physical, and your physical impacts your emotions. So just tune into that and give yourself a number on a scale of 0 to 10, just like we did with Pauline. And now we're going to do the tapping. So begin tapping on the karate chop point. Use one side of the fingers and another, one side of the hand, and just begin tapping. And all you need to do is just follow along in your mind, kind of doing Simon Says, just follow along and do what I do and say what I say.
Say it in my mind.
Yes, say it in your mind. Just follow along. Okay, so we're going to tune into what's bothering us. So we'll say, even though I have all these physical changes and emotional changes going on in my body, I'm choosing to acknowledge what's going on with my body. And I'm choosing to pay attention to all these symptoms. Even though I have all these aches and pains and all these stresses because of this menopause, and I have no idea how to fix this, I'm just going to pay attention to all these symptoms right now, and I'm going to honor and respect my body. Even though I'm holding on to all this stress and strain from so many things happening in my life, and I'm feeling frustrated and tired and drained and exhausted, and these symptoms aren't helping, I'm choosing to pay attention to all these symptoms. It's my body's way of communicating with me, and I'm choosing to acknowledge them. And I'm open to the possibility that I can heal this. Let's tap on the collarbone point. You can tap with one hand, both your hands, up to you. All these symptoms that I've been feeling because of this menopause, it's really tough. Waking up with all these aches and pains, all these hot flashes, never know where it's going to show up. I'm feeling it behind my ears, on my back, all this hot flash feelings, and this pain in my lower hip, left hip, all these different places where I have aches and pains right now. It's been pretty stressful. My body is letting me know all this tension and stress that I'm holding on to. It's really frustrating and annoying. There's so much I need to do. There's so much to get done. There's so many things to take care of. Those to-do lists. And then to have all these aches and pains. I feel so frustrated. I feel so angry. I'm just going to acknowledge how I'm feeling. And I'm going to honor all these feelings that I'm feeling. And I'm going to be open to the possibility that I can release these negative, unhappy, heavy feelings. I'm going to be open to the possibility that as I release and let go of all the stress, all the tension, all the worries, all the frustrations, I can create space within for ease and peace and calm. And when my body is feeling more ease and calm, it can work much better and return to its natural state of flow, releasing all the remaining tensions and aches and pains, worries, anxieties moving forward. I release and clear them all. I choose to feel ease and peace and calm and light and free instead. Just take a deep breath in. Keep tapping on your collarbone and just take another deep breath in. Deep cleansing breath. Letting it all go. Okay, so that was one tapping round. We tuned into what was going on with us physically, emotionally, and we used this tapping process. And now what we do is we check in and see, did anything shift for us physically, emotionally? So I'm going to check in with Pauline. She's here. So what do you feel? What's going on with your hot flashes right now? And what's going on with the left hip pain?
Okay, I'd say the hot flash is like about a 1 now, which is good.
Okay.
I mean, normally hot flashes, they don't last that long, but today, as I said, it's been like one after another. So, but I'm feeling much more comfortable. And my hip is quite dramatic change. Maybe people are saying, oh, she knows her and she's just pretending, but I'm not, I was a very skeptic, and I was on your show before, and I know I was thinking, oh, this is just, psychobabble or something.
Silly
and
stuff, yeah.
But it really helped me. So today it's been quite dramatic. I think because I've done it quite a few times. I'm getting in the flow, just hearing your voice and my voice echoing. It's like a mantra, and it's training my body. Okay, now's the time to calm down. Now's the time to focus. And so much quicker than previous times this has gone. So I would say now it's about a 1. Before it was a 5, it's a 1. Still there, niggling, but not biting me.
Yeah. And that's the thing with this process, is that you can use it immediately. And from a 5, to a 1 is a big change in intensity. And if you can go from feeling pain at a level 5 to a level 1 within a couple of minutes, then you're free. You move forward with more strength, with more, all these annoying things out of your way, and you can be more focused. And so that's why it's a very quick process and something you can do anytime, anywhere, and get relief immediately. Yeah. And maybe it doesn't all go away at once, but you can manage the intensity instantly. Now, going back to your hip pain, Pauline, how long have you had the hip pain?
Oh, over 2 years. Maybe more, 3. Mm-hmm.
So when we did the tapping on my show, yes, before, have you noticed that the intensity?
Actually, for weeks, it was like 3 or 4 weeks. It was almost gone. It was like 1 or 2 nights. It came back. Mostly it's in the night time. It would keep me awake. And menopausal women, we know that the nights are really difficult. And so those couple of times when it came back, just a little bit, but I knew that if I don't do something about it now, it's going to get really bad. And then I have to take strong medicine, and the medicine doesn't work for 40 minutes. And then sometimes it doesn't work. So I did the tapping, lying in bed doing the tapping, and my husband saying, "What are you doing?" I'm saying, but then, it went away. And then it was only like the day before we were coming on this show that I don't know, maybe it was because I knew we were coming, and also there was a lot of stress in my life. Then it got bad. So that was like more than 3 weeks that I was virtually pain free. And it was like, I slept so well. It was amazing.
Yeah. And so it's important to, address it. And you can actually, what we do in EFT is, if you've had if it's not like your whatever pain you're having right now, if it's not just right now, it's been going on for a long time, then you want to go back and say, when was the first time I noticed this pain? And tune into what was the stress in my life at this time. And when you address that stress, then you will experience even more significant relief, because I say pain is just a message, there's something going on underneath. And when you address those issues, then you experience lasting relief. And the other key point to remember here is that, one other thing that really blocks you from experiencing relief is your belief. What do you believe about menopause? Maybe you're premenopausal, postmenopausal, or you are going through menopause right now. Mm-hmm. Tune in and ask yourself, what do I believe? What was I told about menopause by my mother, my grandmother, by the doctors, by my friends? And if you have a bunch of beliefs that are not empowering, you need to tap them away, because there are, as we said earlier, there's women, 10-15% of the population that never experiences any menopausal symptoms. So whatever you believe, you attract more of. And if you believe that it's true that all women go through this menopause and everyone has hot flashes and I will get the back pain and I will experience this and this and this, then you need to, tune in and tap away those beliefs and have, and make another choice. I'm choosing to believe that I can, be free of these symptoms, or I choose to believe I can move through this period with ease and grace and all that wonderful stuff. And I have a YouTube channel in which I have, this video on how to tap about limiting beliefs. So if you
that's great.
Go to the
So if people want to you've really helped me today. Thank you very much. It's been amazing. As usual, that's like twice now you've come to my rescue. If people want to get in contact with you, your website is magicalpainfreeliving.com. And
that's right.
And your YouTube channel, what is that called? It's them?
It's just my first name and last name. So it's Shalini Yamdagni. Shalini Yamdagni. If you go to YouTube and Google Shalini Yamdagni, you'll come across some 40 plus videos, and one of them is limiting beliefs.
I'll put that in the show notes so people can see it very easily. Yeah. YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, and then they can learn how to do the tapping, what are the tapping points. It's all there as well.
Because it's much easier to see the tapping than just hear about it.
Absolutely.
But hopefully our listeners will be inspired today by myself getting relief and saying, oh, if she can get relief, maybe I can get relief too.
Absolutely. Yep.
Limiting beliefs. I'm writing this down, because often we think, oh, I have no limiting beliefs, until you actually challenge yourself or you come across something, and then it's like, it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah. Actually, it's a very easy process sometimes to detect the limiting beliefs. If you have a goal and you're not achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve, one of the things that's stopping you is the limiting belief. So you have to say, what do I believe about this?
Yeah.
And you'll see that whatever it is, whether it's all these menopausal symptoms or some goals you have for yourself, even for physical diseases, people say, oh, my mom had this. So, it's a chronic thing. It's passed down from generations. And if you really believe that, then that's going to be your experience. So, yeah, like I was saying, they're like thieves. They steal all the fun from your life, and we never really recognize that this could also be impacting our health.
Exactly. Well, Shalini, thank you very much for coming on. We'll just say goodbye to our listeners, and as usual, we have to say we are not giving out medical advice. If you want medical advice, please go to your medical practitioner. Until then, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Menopause Morph, your time to change. If you've enjoyed the program, be sure to subscribe to the next one, and please leave a rating and review on iTunes to help us spread the message about thriving through the menopause. To get a free ebook, more menopausal resources, and to connect with Pauline, please visit www.menopausemorph.com.